at ICC in their Team 45-45 league. It means you get 45 minutes to start in a 45-second increment. Now, every game I'm going to look at, going to give you analysis, try to find the mistake, try to find out why the game was won, lost, or drawn, and try to help you. I'll give some criticism, but don't take it the wrong way. In my opinion, the number one reason, beyond all other reasons, why people lose chess games is they move too quick. Okay? You have to take your time, slow down, and think. Okay? Because you have to be able to see what possibilities there are. And this is what's fun about chess, is taking your time. Now, in 45-45 league, I've already done the math. You basically have 75 minutes to get 40 moves in. Half of the chess games that are played last less than 40 moves, half of them last over 40 moves. And we can usually tell at move 40 with a strong degree of confidence what the likely result should be. Should white win? Should white lose? Should the game be a draw? That doesn't mean it'll end that way, but we can usually tell. So our goal is, if we're going to have a long game over 40 moves, our goal is to have as much time on as little time on our clock as possible at move 40, so that we can continue the game. And by having less time on the clock, that gives us time to find better moves between move 1 to 40. Then we go from there. Okay, so let's see what happens here. One side's going to take the time and one isn't. And I'm looking at all these games from scratch. I didn't examine any of them before. I want a totally fresh approach. Okay, it's one of the quieter lines of the Ruy Lopez. White could probably play d3 here and be safe. Rook e1 might be a mistake because of knight g4. Let's see what happens. Okay, well, knight g4 could be coming in here, and then white may have to just sneak his way back. He doesn't do it. Well, let's see. White's threatened with a loss of an exchange. How's he going to protect that? d4 drops a pawn. You have rook e2 or rook f1. I think rook f1 is almost forced. So here black had an opportunity, but let's watch black's clock. I'm going to do this a lot. Okay, he went from 13 to 52 seconds. That means 39 seconds. And he got 45 back, so he took 6 seconds on this move. So you can't tell me black was thinking about what to do here. He would have found knight g4. Okay. And both sides now have more time on their clock than they did. Now, this exchange here, if you're trying to win this pawn, you got to be careful. We'll discuss that in a moment. Generally speaking, I don't have a problem with people who do this, but let's wait and see if they'll kick you. Okay, like for instance, oh wait, I went the wrong way. So let's just say he played, well, this is still a threat. Let's just suppose you play here, and I have things in my video series to talk about those moves. I'm just trying to stop this. Okay, because it is a threat. Usually it isn't. In this case, it is. Okay, maybe black will play this. We don't know what he's going to do, but now we'll go ahead and take. And the difference is you've prevented this little embarrassing continuation. So if you're doing this to win the pawn, no, we're not. So it is just transposed. But black didn't have to spend this move. Now, I guess I was thinking he's going to, black's going to try to win that, or white's trying to win a pawn here. Now, let's see what happens on rook e8. Well, d4 is out of the question. Black just takes it. I guess you could counterattack the bishop, but I don't know, let's see. I guess you could take. There's other lines too. I'm just looking at one at a time. And white's got the he's behind in development. He hasn't done anything here, and none of these have even moved yet. So this here is a reason for not to go after that pawn. let's see. But you know, black can also play this, and this pawn is under attack. We can't play f3 to defend it; it's pinned. Okay, you know, we could push it, but you know, this could get awkward for white. Look at this. Okay, so bishop g4, and white has to give something up. You know, he can't play, as much as he'd love to play f3, he can't. This is the only move to save the queen. And then, you know, we can just get this knight to safety, or go ahead and take here now if we want. And then make this knight safe, and black is winning. So anyway, so white hasn't done a whole lot here, but he is taking his time. See, look, he spent 6 minutes on this. So maybe he looked at this and evaluated it. But let's back this up and ask another question. How long did white think to consider this move? And you can see he did it pretty quick. His clock went up by 20 some seconds, 25 seconds. So white spent 20 seconds on that move. This probably would have been a better choice. And let's just back up further. Rook e1 was, well, his clock went down 22 seconds, so he spent 1 minute and 7 seconds. But you have almost 2 minutes, and you'll stay on pace, okay? And you should have seen this possibility. This can get a little awkward for black. I'm sorry, for white. Okay. But again, essentially the game is about even. Black has a slight lead in development. He's got a bishop out, white doesn't. He can develop his other bishop, white can't. You know, but it's still essentially even. Okay, develops the queen. Now I guess he's eyeballing this. But notice this is one of the drawbacks with these rook pawn pushes. This knight can go to g3. White can't take it. You know, g3 is undefended. It's one of the problems with these rook pawn pushes. Okay, white develops the knight. Now it looks like black is trying to negotiate some checkmating patterns. Okay, his threat is to take here. Okay, and the other idea is to sink this knight in here. And, you know, he's just targeting, you know, this weak pawn structure. So here's another one of many reasons why you don't want to push this pawn up. Let's see what white does. Well, this is risky. It does gain a tempo on the queen, but we have to evaluate this stuff very carefully. Let's see. Black needs to move his queen. Now, this is risky too. Okay, we can attack the queen, but then we cut off our attack on the knight. So I'm trying to find some way that white can proceed here and get somewhere, but let's see what he does. Okay, that's the logical move. Turn around and attack the queen and drive the queen. Well, it doesn't drive the queen off the file. Black could play here. Does he? No, he didn't. Let's look at my idea. See, we can't forget that, you see, well, maybe it's tricky. Maybe white has d4. But we have to consider this. So white's won a pawn and driven the queen away. And black's threats, for the moment, are forestalled. So white to play. Whoops. Sorry about that. Sometimes I hit the wrong button. Okay, let's just go forward. Okay. Now where's the queen going to go? She only has like one safe square, looks like e6. But for what it's worth, black has a threat. He's planning to play f6. Now, this is weakening. This weakens white's position a lot. You know, now not only is g3 still under attack, but we've lost potential control of these squares, and we don't control these squares with a pawn anymore. So let's back this up and try to consider something a little more careful. This is a good bishop. Let's offer an exchange. Okay, we have to deal with the threat down here. So if he takes here, we have some choices. We can take with the pawn, and these are strong pawns. They're double, but look at the territory they control. White center pawns are controlling 5 central squares. Black has 1 pawn controlling a center square. Okay, or we could, if we don't want the double pawns, we could come up here, and maybe that e file will open up one day, and we're that close to getting things where we want them. So we want to consider where our pieces might end up. But this is kind of risky and requires a lot of calculation. And it looks like White did take his time on this, so that's great. Like I say, I don't, in my opinion, if you take your time and don't play a good move, that's okay. Because we're not all going to play great moves, okay? I mean, I certainly have my share of bad games. So let's see how Black reacts. And here's the thing that would concern me. There's going to be some line openings. You're going to have to take this. Now H3 is going to be loose. Whichever one Black decides to take, the F file is going to be open. Let's see what happens. Well, he doesn't deal with either of them. He goes here. Okay, it's reasonable. This closes down the diagonal. Black responds. He just says, okay, I'll take this. And now White has his choice of pieces. Which one does he want? And he doesn't want either. He wants to play another Zwischenzug. But what's protecting this knight? The answer is nothing. So we have to be very, very, very careful here. Let's see. Black could play F6. Queen F6, rather. Black is temporarily a piece ahead, by the way. Queen F6 threatens F2. Let's see what Black does. And look at Black's clock. He's still going kind of quick. You have nearly 2 minutes of move. Now Black has to decide which piece he wants to lose. I might consider, well, let's see. I might consider just dropping this knight in here and say, go ahead, take my bishop. I'm going to take this pawn with check, and I'm going to take this. Let's see what Black does. Very good.
Check.
So, I want to remind everyone, you're capable of playing the best moves, grandmaster moves, okay? In this case, national master moves. This is what I suggested. You solved tactics before, White to play and win. There were probably grandmaster games. So, you have the skills. We just trying to find ways to help you with the other 90% of your moves that aren't grandmaster moves, okay? Or maybe 80%, or who knows? Okay, but I missed this, but I don't know. Let's see. There's going to be a pin on that knight. Okay, so it looks like this knight's a goner. If knight here to G5, there's H6. Okay, so rook E3. So Black has his choice. Which knight does he want? I would probably go for this one simply because it gains a tempo. And then we're trying to do something with a mate here. Let's see. But he took this one. And here, Black took it without much thought. Watch his clock. 43:09. So 13 seconds increase on his time, but he took 32 seconds on this move. Now, I want to point out a very critical factor here, again with the clock. Black could sit here and take 32 minutes on this move, and he'd still have more time left on his clock than White would. So if you're ahead on time on your opponent, definitely take your time. Try to make it as difficult as possible. Now, I think this is a strong move. If White wants to go down the exchange, he's just headed for a losing game. What else can White do? Well, he can flee with his queen. Let's try to pick a square that's useful. Let's come over here. Okay, let's get a little defense around the king. Okay, now, what do we want to do with black? Let's see. We could check.
Check.
And then maybe, now if we want, we could take this pawn. I don't know. I can't really get the rigor, but I had a different idea. Let's not check at all. Let's just go gobble this up. See, white, and then now our plan is to try to bring the rook up and go over and check. You know, white's in kind of in a bad way here. That doesn't mean white's any better off here. You know, this king is vulnerable. And why did this happen? It was because of that g4 move, which I didn't recommend.
Check.
And now he's drawing the king out.
Check.
So, you know, black is doing this very quickly. If he's not careful, white's going to have a win here.
Check.
And white's up a piece now. White should probably win this. So what do we want to do here? We can throw this knight into f5. That looks like a strong place. We can double up on the open file. I mean, he could, yeah, let's double up on the open file. That stops queen takes f2. See what white does. Okay, you could do that too. Trade some stuff off.
Check.
Now that did activate black's bad rook, but you know, white is definitely winning this. Let's think about a move like this once again. Okay, he breaks the pin. He wants to play knight here. This is fine. And now black decides to open up his king position. And look at white's time. So white, you've done a great job with your clock, okay? And unfortunately, maybe you used too much time because you know, you're in bad time pressure here.
Check.
And you know, white's just up a piece. There should be a win inside here. Probably going to play queen g7 check. I'm kind of partial to, I have a different idea. Let me see where this came from. Okay.
Check.
I mean, it looks like this is what you're going to play. But if you think about it for a minute, this king is just going to run. He has no choice. But what if we check on h5? Let's see what white did.
Check.
Yeah, he played what I thought he would. But if we check on h5, this king can't run away. He either has to come up, okay, or he has to hide back here. So let's look at coming up. Now, if we want,
check.
If we can't find the mate, we can just trade off the queens.
Check.
And white has an easy win. Okay? The alternative is black comes back here. Now, let's see. We have several checks. We have 3 of them. We also have a sneaky kind of move. Watch this. I don't know where this is going. We're going to allow a check.
Check.
But we answer a check with a check. Now, black may be in serious trouble here. If the king the king can't come out. He has to go in the corner. Now, let's see. Now let's go down here. Okay, now we're threading a mate in 1. Maybe this is no good. Maybe black defends with this. I'm trying to find a mate. You know, grandmasters look at bad moves too, but this certainly looks inviting. You know, the white king is exposed, but this move threatens a check here. You know, maybe black can wiggle out of this, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see.
Check.
Now we dare him to take this. because
Checkmate.
we have this mate. Now, I would have to really stop and work this out, but I see that this may go somewhere. It keeps the king in the area where we want him. So you can analyze that on your own, have some fun.
Check.
Okay, now, if we move the queen somewhere, we would be threatening a knight fork. So where can we put the queen? Well, we could put the queen on d4. That protects the pawn on e4. Let's see what white does. Okay, same idea. You protected the pawn, but one drawback is you stepped into a pin. For what it's worth, my initial idea was here, and I'm going here to keep the king from running over this way. Now, maybe we can bring the rook over here and threaten a mate down here, or well, maybe not a mate, but queen check followed by a rook check. So queen g4 should be okay, and you don't have a lot of time. You did take your time on your move. Now this looks risky. So a simple way to finish this is just knight check. Let's see what he did.
Check.
He took that. Well, now you're back in the lineup I had. But the simple way to fix
Check.
this thing, as I was saying, is check here. Now, no, you can't. Now he takes. Oh no, this wins. He doesn't have time to take your queen. What am I thinking? Okay, so the king has to move. And no matter where you move, you can take the queen next turn. And even if you protect the queen, your knight's on it. So I like this, at least a similar stuff when I did, but this move just outright wins, period. You know, maybe you thought because your knight was pinned that you couldn't do this, but this just ends the game right now. Okay,
check.
So the check is good, except now he's getting away. I wasn't checking there earlier. I was checking when the king was on f7. So he'll probably check with the rook. No, it goes here. Okay, why are you not checking with the rook?
Check.
Okay, now okay, you know, white's okay here. Maybe his attack's run out of steam. Okay.
Check.
Now you drop that pawn with check. Now you're dropping your knight back.
Check.
He doesn't want the knight.
Check.
Now he wants the knight. So now both sides' kings are feeling the heat. You know, white is threatening this. Rook d1 pitting the queen. Black has stuff like this that's coming. I mean, rook g2 seems to force mate.
Check.
But look at, you know, black is playing too quick. 49.06.
Check.
And, you know, 21 seconds gained to his clock. Black took 24 seconds on this move when he had what appears to be a forced mate. I mean, I missed stuff.
Check.
But the king can't go up. You know, all the squares are out of control. If you go here,
checkmate.
That's mate. That leaves here. And I don't see white's defense
Check.
to this.
Checkmate.
He's in the same position. So you got to take your
Check.
time.
Check.
So black still looks like he's winning. Now here, let's not grab a pawn. Why settle for a pawn when you have a king
Check.
lined up? This is forcing the king forward. You know, there's a good chance you're going to win. You're gonna win by a checkmate. I'll let you stop and figure it out. But there's just too many checks and possibilities here. There's a check here. Anyway, you don't need this pawn. Why settle for a pawn when you can get a king?
Check. Check.
Now suddenly the white pieces have sprung to life, and the black king looks exposed.
Check.
And maybe white has a mating combination here. I haven't seen one yet. That doesn't mean one doesn't exist. let's see. This closes off the E file, seals from this checks, but there are still some checks black might have that might be useful. Very tricky position.
Check.
I'm sure this is
Check.
fine.
Check.
Now here, this move seems to
Check.
force checkmate. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, we don't have this mate, right? Because the queen guards it. But we have this check.
Check.
And if he goes here, here's our mate.
Checkmate.
If he goes here, now we
Checkmate.
mate on this square. So it seems like white. So it's back and forth. Both sides have missed mate. White just doesn't have much time on this clock. Okay.
Check.
So black settled for a pawn when he could have had a king. White settled for a rook when he could have had a king. So just take my advice. Why settle for a pawn when you can get a king?
Check.
Now maybe black has perpetual check threats.
Check.
White wouldn't have time to figure all that out with only a few
Check.
minutes on his clock.
Check.
But here he walks into the epaulette mate or the swallowtail mate.
Checkmate.
They call it a swallowtail. This is supposed to resemble the tail of a swallow. Okay, so it's another name for the mate. Epaulette is the other name. So white needs to run with his king, and black is not done checking.
Check.
Now you can't check here. We have a problem. So maybe black is done checking, and suddenly it's white's turn to start checking again. Okay, that was a very, very interesting game. Thanks those for watching.